Friday.
There is Quentin Porter. He's the starting quarterback tonight for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. His first start in about a month. He's had a knee injury, but Marcel Belleface says he's ready to go. He's been our #1 all season, and I'm putting him right back in there tonight against the defending Grey Cup champs as we kick off week number 12. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football. We welcome you back into our Friday night studios. Dave, Chris, Matt, and Jock. And the Stamps come in, boys, on a roll. They've won 3 in a row, including 2 straight over the Edmonton Eskimos in the Labor Day game and Labor Day rematch. And they share first place atop the West with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hamilton Tiger Cats have lost 3 of their last 4. They're trying to bounce back after a loss. So Hamilton can win tonight if what happens?
If I think Hamilton will win if they can outrush the Calgary Stampeders. I'm not talking about just the running back position, guys. I believe that Quentin Porter has to use his legs as well, because you know Henry Burris wants to do that, and you know Joffrey Reynolds wants to run, because he hasn't had the kind of yards that he's used to getting. DeAndre Cobb, now he hasn't had 100-yard games since week 3 of the season against the BC Lions in week 4, and I believe that this is a guy who's just waiting to explode. So if he can keep the ball moving on the ground, Quentin Porter can do it with his legs, it'll keep Burris and that powerful offense off the field and give them a great chance.
Burris and Jermaine Copeland have been hot. Copeland's the offensive player of the week. Jim Davis, defensive player of the week. Yeah, that's right. Calgary wins if what?
If they tackle like they did last week. Don't let Edmonton's 24 points off of 4 Calgary turnovers fool you. Calgary's defense held the Edmonton Eskimos to 268 total yards and Ricky Ray to 185 yards passing at Commonwealth. They were outstanding because as soon as the receivers, if they had a chance to catch the ball, were tackled. If they tackle well, Schultz, in my opinion, they beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And will Calgary win this game if Jermaine Copeland outduels Arlan Bruce in the world of spectacular catches? One of the nice stories so far on the CFL has been Jermaine Copeland. He's made the routine plays, he's made the runs, but he has done some things that just make you go, wow. If he does it tonight, because I think we're going to have a competitive football game, I think it's a big advantage for the Calgary Stampeders. There's a nice little chemistry right now between Henry Burris and Jermaine Copeland. Test that secondary. Use Jermaine Copeland. He's been proven. He's got to do it again.
Cope has 7 touchdown catches in his last 4 games. They say he's the comeback guy of the year, and he's a comeback. Where have I been? I've been here the whole time. But, you know, Kenyon Rambo goes down. Focus is on him, and he's going to be a handful tonight. The Ticats are coming out. They played well against Calgary at home. We'll see what happens tonight.
David, TSN is the exclusive broadcaster of the CFL and proud home of the 2009 Grey Cup. And the defending Grey Cup champions and Western leading Calgary Stampeders roll into the Hammer to tangle with the Tiger Cats on a glorious night for football at Ivor Wynne. On the final weekend of summer, the temperature at 18 degrees. There's John Huffnagel, whose Stampeders are hitting stride. They're on a 3-game win streak, their longest of the year. And on the other sideline, Marcel Belleface, Tabbies, hitting the heart of their schedule at 5-5. They have 2 against Calgary, 2 against Montreal in their next 5 games. So a critical part of the schedule for one of the feel-good stories in the league this year.
It really is. They've only won 1 of their last 4, but they've lost a couple of real close games to Hamilton Tiger Cats and a win against the Calgary Stampeders. And I think you can genuinely say that this team is for real here in Hamilton. They'll go with Quentin Porter as a starting quarterback tonight. A lot of discussion as to whether or not it should be Quentin Porter or Kevin Glenn, but Porter gets the nod. He's healthy.
Stampeders will get the ball first. Hamilton will have the wind at its back in this opening quarter. Stampeders won both meetings last year, but this has been a tough place to play for Calgary. Prior to last year's win, 4 consecutive losses in visits to Ivor Wynne. Nick Seta kicking it off, and we're underway. And Titus Ryan letting it bounce, and it'll be played now into the up men, John Eubanks at the 28-yard line. So not much on the return as Henry Burris leads the offense out. Starting lineup brought to you by Nissan, fan and proud sponsor of the CFL.
Now last week, just 393 passing for Henry Burris, and of course the game-winning drive as that game was coming to an end. Edmonton Eskimos kept Joffrey Reynolds in check. There's a receiving core. They get Jackie Chambers back in the lineup, a second start for him, and offensive line, 140th start for Jeff Pilon at right tackle.
They'll hand it off for the first play of the game, and there's Joffrey Reynolds. And he is upended at the 34-yard line. Reynolds 4th in league rushing, and Otis Floyd shaken up on the play.
Well, the heart and soul has been their linebacking core. We'll get to that in just a second. You see Montez Murphy in the interior of that defensive line. Kahari Long, Garrett McIntyre due back next week. There's that linebacking core, arguably the best in the Canadian Football League right now, led by Jamal Johnson. And the secondary with Bo Smith and Akeem Bradley on the corners.
6 on first down, 2nd and 4. Pressure Burris dumping it off quickly, and Jermaine Copeland up to the 40-yard line will stretch out for the first down.
It's a huge improvement for the Hamilton Tiger Cats over their last couple of years has been in that linebacking core and that defense. They're young together. It's a young defensive football team, and this is a linebacking core that you can make the argument is the #1 group in the league. I mean, tackles is the stat that you often talk about when you talk about linebackers, and the #1 group so far.
Johnson and Milton 1-2 in the league, and back it goes off the left side. Reynolds with a big run. He's dragged down by Chris Thompson, but a first down romp for Joffrey Reynolds off the left side.
And that's what will be the matchup. It'll be Joffrey Reynolds tonight, and that running game for the Calgary Stampeders that they can go to anytime against that linebacking core. Jamal Johnson leads that group. 67 tackles, 1st in the Canadian Football League, so they'll get up close and personal tonight.
Jermaine Copeland checks back in. His first catch of the game was number 499 of his career, and now a quick look in to Nick Lewis in a catch near another first down. Oh, check that. They're going to rule incomplete on the play.
The super slots, that's what they're called and have been over the years, and especially this year with Copeland leading the league in touchdowns. That one's real close. Nick Lewis, did he get that off the turf? It looked like he might have used the turf to help him make that catch. Nick Lewis without a touchdown catch after 10 games, and 11 for Jermaine Copeland.
2nd and 10. Ticats show blitz, drop out. Burris has time, and that pass incomplete. So a couple that Nick Lewis couldn't reel in. And the Calgary opening possession stalls.
A good start in front of the home crowd, a place where the Hamilton Tiger Cats have played well this year, as Henry Burris is going to try and go over the middle here to Nick Lewis, who told me yesterday that he hasn't been to the end zone, but he's happy with the rest of his game, whether that means blocking or making that key catch. And you know we'll see a lot of Nick Lewis in 2nd down.
Dyson James has dropped deep. Burkdale's the boot. James for 12. And the pads are popping as he returns to the 17. 46-yard boot. Ticats first possession with Quentin Porter back against the starter, and Porter will be dragged down as he crosses the 20-yard line up to the 21 as we set this Tiger Cat offense without a couple of veterans.
Yeah, Quentin Porter, first start in 33 days. Kevin Glenn had the controls for the last 3 games. Arlan Bruce, in his 5 starts in that receiving corps, has led the team in every single game. Receiving, they get Aris Curry out at wide receiver, and there's the offensive line with Alexander Gauthier and Dan Goodspeed at tackles.
Chris Davis with 34 catches released this week. Preche Rodriguez out this week with a injury, and that ball popped loose. And the Tiger Cats, did they get back on it? Stampeders say it's their football, and it is.
And the Hamilton Tiger Cats want Marcel Belfait to challenge this call. They were all signaling to challenge, and I guess the question is, first of all, was Quentin Porter, was his arm moving forward in a throwing motion? It looked like he lost control of it with him behind him.
That looked a lot like a play we saw last week with Ricky Ray. Pressure on from Tate George, the newcomer, and the challenge flag now has popped out.
I want to take a look and see if Porter's arm was moving
Hamilton
forward.
is challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble. We'll review the play.
And this takes you back to his last start in Saskatchewan, where he had trouble gripping the football. Did have thumb surgery in college. And on a wet night in Regina, he had trouble with the football and fumbled once.
You know, it's just a matter of when that ball came out. There's no question he looked like he was trying to release the ball, but as he brought it back, it squirted out of that hand. He doesn't have the conditions or the weather conditions here as an excuse tonight.
The Hamilton quarterback did fumble the ball. It will be Calgary's ball, first down.
You know, Marcel Belfair really had to challenge that to take a look at it, but I think the call was correct. The ball was out as Porter's hand was in behind him and before it started to move forward.
So he'll confer with Harry Jones. Marcel Belfair will check in, and Henry Burris and the Stamps have a 1st and goal at the Ticat 9-yard line. Double tight ends. Play action fake to Reynolds, and that pass incomplete. Will draw a flag at the goal line intended for guess who? Jermaine Copeland.
These two just lock in when they get down to that goal line area. 11 touchdowns, as I mentioned earlier, for Jermaine Copeland, leads the CFL. He was well covered there, but that doesn't seem to matter. Jermaine Copeland's well covered.
Pass interference. Hamilton, number 9. The foul occurred on the 1-yard line. Will be Calgary, first down, number 1.
Tisdale.
That's Copeland right there, the inside receiver. He's going to run a slant route. A couple steps up. Jab that step inside position. Jeff Tisdale, it looked like, was in pretty good position unless he was grabbing the jersey from the right hand, and we couldn't really see it from that angle. Didn't really see a lot of interference on that play.
Next touchdown pass for Henry Burris will pass Doug Flutie in the all-time Stamps list. No pass, or is there going to be a pass? Henry Burris will walk in. Touchdown, Calgary. 5th touchdown of the year for Henry Burris, and the Stamps capitalize quickly on the fumble by Quentin Porter.
You know, when you have Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield, you know the defensive line linebackers have to key in and they have to commit immediately to the run. And Joffrey Reynolds did the great play fake to go up and over the top to sell it so that Henry Burris could get the corner and outside, take advantage of turnovers like they've done all year long.
With the point after, it will be 119 points of turnovers this year for the Stamps, who break out on top. Henry Burris, 5th touchdown of the year. Ticats the best team at not turning the ball over, but a costly early mistake on the fumble by Quentin Porter. Punch downfield, Marquet McDaniel on the run. Has it across the 30 and taken now by John Cornish across the 35-yard line.
Let's go back to that touchdown, and there's only one player that can help the Hamilton Tiger Cats here, and that's going to be the contain man. In this case is Yannick Carter, and he takes the wrong angle. He comes in real sharp like this. What he has to do is come up the field a little bit more and have a better angle of containment on Henry Burris as he runs the bootleg. He's the only guy that has a chance to keep Burris in the pocket and allow the pursuit by Markeith Knowlton to get there. If he gets outside of Carter, it's a touchdown.
So back to work goes Quentin Porter. He tried to get some of the run. There's another ball bobbled. And now he'll try and regroup. Pressure on. And he does get away to throw it downfield off the fingertips of Arlen Bruce. Not sure if that's a thumb problem, a bit of rust. What do you think?
Well, it looks to me to be a little bit of nerves, and like I mentioned, it's been over a month since Quentin Porter has started a game. He did get some reps last week in a couple of scripted series, but it looks like he's got some nerves. He kept the play alive. He just didn't get his receivers to react to this scramble situation in time.
August 16th, his last start, again in the rain at Saskatchewan, and he was lifted from that game in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. Pocket breaks down, and he takes off. And now dumps it off, and Arlen Bruce has the catch. And a first down across midfield for a guy who has led the Ticats in receptions in each game since he joined the Ticats.
Hamilton Tiger Cats wanted to set up the screen to DeAndre Cobb here, but it was well covered by the Calgary Stampeders. Cobb is in the backfield with Quentin Porter here, and he's going to come out to set up the screen pass, but Shannon James sniffs that out, so Porter keeps the play alive, and then he gets help from his receiver this time as Arlen Bruce comes back to the ball, gives him a target, and picks up the first.
29 yards for Arlen Bruce, who had 10 catches but limited to just 45 yards in the overtime loss against Toronto last week. First and 10. That one bobbled and dropped by Arise Curry out of bounds.
Changes up front for the Calgary defense. They get Charleston Hughes back from a year ago. Defensive line, along with Tay George, who was a starter in 2007 for that in that defensive line. There is the linebacking core with Malik Jackson making a big difference, as is Tim Johnson against the run in the middle. And Keon Raymond in his third start on the corner for Brandon Browner in the secondary.
Quite a reno by Chris Jones, John Huffnagel on that Calgary defense. The front four, none of them were with the team a month ago. Second and 10, there's Bruce, and there's another first down as Arlen Bruce got away from Shannon James.
And it must have been some butterflies for Quentin Porter, because he's made a couple of plays back-to-back here now that looks like he's starting to settle in, this being the best of the bunch, because he steps in there strong, steps into the throw, nice tight spiral on that ball to Arlen Bruce over the middle in traffic, so looks like he's got rid of some of those early butterflies.
50th catch of the year for Bruce, and within 5 yards of last week's total. 40 already. First down at the 35. Quarterback draw, and Quentin Porter crashing down to around the 27-yard line. And this is an element of the game I know you like, the Porters.
Yeah, and you know, when the discussion was going on about Kevin Glenn or Quentin Porter, and this is the one element that Quentin Porter brings that Kevin Glenn really doesn't. And I know Glenn has more experience, but Quentin Porter just behind Darian Durant and Henry Burris for rushing quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League, and he missed 3 games. Henry Burris leads the way. He's the #1 quarterback running the football.
Here we go, D.
And behind him is Darian Durant after missing 3 games. Quentin Porter right there.
8 for Porter, second and 2. He wants a lot more than that. Jump ball, and Bruce can't bring it in. Play broken up by John Eubanks in the corner.
Calgary Stampeders were in a bit of a slump in the interception department until John Eubanks bailed them out last week with his first pick in his 4th start in that secondary for Devonzo Tate, who was released. A little bit of pushing and shoving, but I still believe you let them play in that scenario, because you saw Arlen Bruce with his arm on Eubanks, and he tried to grab a little bit.
You know, in Ivor Wynn, they want the penalty flag, especially after the call on the other goal line, but Nick Sett is in.
Well, my vote would be no flag on
either one.
Yeah.
And set up from 35 yards out to 7 of his last 10, and that one just came in time. So the Cats are on the board. Welcome back to Hamilton, and on the sidelines, Claude Payne.
Well, Chris, you know, for the past few seasons, the name Ivor Wynn here in Hamilton has certainly been a misnomer for this franchise. In fact, a 4-game win streak this year is their longest since 2002. Now, I asked Sandy Beveridge, one of the 3 remaining holdouts from those teams in the early 2000s that has been here, and I asked him what's with the change. Well, he said that the team has taken a lot of pride in trying to restore the winning tradition here in Hamilton, trying to make this a very tough place for the Ticats to win, and also added quite candidly that he's quite happy to see that the hometown fans, which of course can get rowdy at times, are actually getting on the other team instead of their own for a change, guys.
Yeah, this could be a tough place to play for both the visitors and the home team.
Yeah.
Sasha Glavic with a nice play on special teams, and they like that here in the Hammer.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's a great point, because I remember coming here and how difficult it was to win here. This is always Steel Town tough to play in Hamilton. You always had great defenses, and was always very tough. It's been tough for the Calgary Stampeders. I think you mentioned right off the top, Chris, they've only won 3 of their last 10 in Ivor Wynne Stadium. It did include they won last year, but it's been tough.
Harris has time, looks downfield. That ball skipped short of the intended target. Again, next catch for Jermaine Copeland, number 500. And tonight, Henry Burris hopes to pass Doug Flutie with touchdown pass number 141.
Well, he had 3 last week. That come from behind win against the Edmonton Eskimos. And he said he wasn't really keeping track in the middle of the game. But he knows now he's one away, and believe me, he'll keep the ball when he gets it.
Only blemish on last week's brilliant performance. 3 interceptions, some characteristic for him, and that play doesn't get off.
It's a good point. There was those 3 interceptions. The turnovers actually cost the Calgary Stampeders last week 24 points, and he was starting to wonder if John Huffnagel's crew was going to be able to come back from that. But that's a sign of a good team.
Procedure. Calgary number 2, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Teo Johnson was the man called for procedure.
Yeah, sign of a good team when you can turn the ball over, you can make some mistakes, you can give up those 24 points off the turnovers, and yet you can still find a way to win the game.
One of the reasons they were so successful last week, first down production, they averaged 11.1 yards on first down against the Eskimo defense. First and 15 here. Pressure off the edge. They screen. And Joffrey Reynolds will be taken down. And there's Jamal Johnson with another tackle to add to his league-leading total.
Boy, this is really, I think, an underutilized weapon, the screen play, especially when you have 2 great running backs like Joffrey Reynolds and DeAndre Cobb. Here's the idea. You're supposed to give a 2 count as the offensive lineman to let the defensive lineman get up the field, because you know your running back's getting outside of that pass rush, and you're allowing time for your offensive lineman to pull out in front of it and try and block a linebacker. That time Jamal Johnson sniffed it out, but I love the screen pass, especially when you get good running backs like we have here tonight.
Third down boot by Kirk Dales. And here's Reese Curry, gets a block, but there is a marker, another big block. That was blocked. Huge block on Marcus Howard. Joaquin Bradley lowered the boom, but there was already a flag on the play, and there's also an injured Calgary Stampeder, Wes Lysak. A 54-yard punt, and the return of 46 coming back.
Wes Lysak was trying to get contained on the outside and was hit from the side. It looked like he ran into his own player as well.
Illegal block during the return. Hamilton number 33, 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Andre Sedishin called on the play and will step out. Play just underway, and a pass to Marquis McDaniel. And all the way up to the 35-yard line for McDaniel, and it's a 20-yard pickup for the Ticats.
You look at this receiving core for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They have been able to take a look at Marquis McDaniel coming across the formation here on a little under route, because the addition of Arlan Bruce 5 weeks ago, they were able to cut Chris Davis, who had made some plays for this team. But that's a sign of progression in this football team in Hamilton, that they're better players. You're allowed to make some moves.
First carry for DeAndre Cobb off the right side. Cobb has close to 5, but fumbles picked up. Milton Collins down the sidelines. Touchdown. Second mistake by the Hamilton offense, and it costs another touchdown. A 37-yard fumble return for a major score from Milton Collins.
Wow, you're exactly right, Chris. It's just mistakes by the Hamilton defense or offense that this Calgary defense is taking advantage of. First of all, they get the fumble from Quentin Porter in the very first series, and now DeAndre Cobb on the outside. That ball is stripped, and a perfect bounce right to Milton Collins, who takes it down the rail.
Looked like Devon Claybrooks was the man who may have knocked it loose, and fumbles becoming a problem for DeAndre Cobb. 5th of the year, and the 4th that he's lost. A couple have come in the 4th quarter of football games, including last week.
This has not been a problem for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, so a bit for Cobb, but not overall.
No, you're right. Just number 20 and 21, they led the league in protecting the football. So far, not tonight.
That's one of the things that John Hufnagel said he was admiring about the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and was impressed with the fact that they didn't give the ball away much. Leading the league in fewest giveaways, and already in this game, 2 turnovers have cost them 14 points. Their defense has not given up a point. Milton Collins on that fumble will take it all the way himself. And then that Quentin Porter set up a touchdown.
Malik Jackson also in, trying to rip that football out. And there's Claybrooks getting the left paw through.
No question, a fumble.
So the Ticats have to regroup now. 14 points, all off turnovers here in the opening 11 minutes.
DeAndre Cobb coming in, 6.4-yard rushing average. Marcel Belfay has now got to rally the troops, because you're right, they can't let this get away from them early here. They've been slow starters throughout the season.
There's Marquet McDaniel again. Found a crease, and then Tim Johnson slammed the door shut. Good return, though, up to the 43-yard line. And now Porter has got to get this offense composed and back in gear.
Yeah, it really is. You stick with the game plan, you come right back in and go right back at it, and try and not look up at the score clock at all until you get close again, because you're trying to not let that affect you mentally. But the very first series, Quentin Porter put it on the ground. That turned into 7 points, and then DeAndre Cobb, Milton Collins makes it 14-3, and they have to just settle things down now.
Number 43, quick hitter. There is McDaniel. And he will fall forward. Really impressed the coaches last week, and I think he was a contributing factor to Chris Davis being released, because McDaniel comes in, makes some key catches in the game against Toronto. And Davis, because of some drops and penalties, no longer with Hamilton.
Yeah, he, and then you have Reese Curry on the outside, but McDaniel also a return man, and so he can be utilized in the special teams as well.
Number 3 in all-purpose yards, number 3 in kick returns, and 3rd in the league in punt returns. So he has been a valuable weapon for Marcel Belfay. 2nd and short, and Porter straight ahead. And he'll reach midfield and give the Ticats a fresh set of downs. Glenn, this isn't now Marcel Belfay scripted it, but he did say, check that Trefalis in the short yardage situation, but he did say that sooner or later, Quentin Porter needs time to deal with adversity. You can't just go to the next guy, and part of the learning process is getting through the bad times, not all of his fault.
No, he's just accounting for 7 of the points for Calgary, but you're right.
Porter, and that one batted down.
You're right, because Marcel Belfay was telling us yesterday that, you know, it would be easy for him to stick with Kevin Glenn, more experience. And of course, you look across at who he's playing in the Calgary Stampeders, the Grey Cup champions from a year ago, who have really turned the corner and won 3 straight games. And he said, but I don't want to let the opponent dictate my decisions. And this has been the plan from the very beginning of the season heading into training camp, that Kevin Glenn will be the veteran guy that can come off the bench. Quentin Porter is a guy they want to develop.
Cobb out, Bryson James in, and they go to a 6-pack of receivers on 2nd and 10. And Porter steps up and takes off across the 50, and John Eubanks, they got a face mask. Flags fly as Porter was stopped short of the first down. Chris Jones in the ear of John Eubanks immediately.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is going against Calgary.
Major foul, face mask. Calgary number 29, 15-yard will be enforced from the end of the play. First down.
Quentin Porter's going to see the gap up in the middle. Then he bounces to the outside, and that's when there's the face mask right there. John Eubanks just pulls the head right around. So that's an easy call to make by the officials, the correct call to make. And we'll move the change because Porter was just shy.
Stampeders' second highest penalized team, averaging 98.9 yards a game. First down. Porter guns it and has a completion inside the 20. And there's Marquet McDaniel again. And he gets up jawing with Wes Lysak.
McDaniel's made some tough catches already in this game, and he took a pretty big hit here over the middle as well. This is called the dig route, where he's going to go down the field about 15 yards and then make a 90-degree cut right across the middle. Pretty good timing from Quentin Porter. He's got a nice throwing lane, and there's the hit. Two Calgary Stampeders arriving at the same time on Marquet McDaniel.
3 catches, 45 yards, and he had to work his way even into the return game after Trey Smith and Terry Colley were hurt. First down. Quentin Porter looking for the end zone, and this one intercepted as he overthrows McDaniel, and Wes Lysak plays center field and hauls it in. Well, second interception of the year for Lysak.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. He overthrows him, but he also locks into him. And you can see right now, before the snap of the ball, exactly where Quentin Porter is looking the entire time. And as a free safety, you see that kind of dedication by your eyes to the receiver, then you're going to just flow over there. And you can see Wes Lysak sort of receiving that pass like it was a punt.
So a team that averaged less than 2 giveaways a game through the first 10 has turned it over 3 times in less than a quarter. And Calgary scrimmages at the 25. And Joffrey Reynolds tripped up. Good defensive play by Kahari Long, the defensive end.
Well, you know, this Hamilton defense has got to be fresh. They haven't been out there that much. Hamilton offense kind of moving the ball a little bit and then turning it over and giving it back to Calgary. Greg Marshall in charge of this defense and continuing to improve this young crew.
Takes that front 4, starting to mature. More 4-man pressure as the season's gone on. See if they can generate some here on 2nd and 10. They do get some heat, but open is Thelwell, and he's got it, and they dropped it. Ryan Thelwell separated from the football when he had a step behind the safety, Sandy Beveridge. End of the first quarter here in Hamilton. First quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons, always fresh, always.
Yeah, you look at the right side column, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats lead net yards, passing and rushing yards, first downs, time of possession. The only category they don't is the turnovers or points off turnovers, and that's the 14 points the Calgary Stampeders have generated. Really, the Hamilton Tiger Cats in this first quarter just handed 14 points to the opposition.
Tough enough to beat the defending Grey Cup champions, but you don't want to beat yourself, and that's what they did in the first quarter.
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, they have been very good at protecting the football throughout the season. Their first 10 games, that was one of the things that John Huffnagel thought was impressive about the Hamilton start to the season. But they have lots of time in this football game, 3 quarters to play. They just have to settle down their offense, maintain possession of the football. They should be fine.
So some self-inflicted wounds in the opening 15 minutes. Gene Jins, Grayson James drops back, and Burke Dales gets set to kick it away. Big rush, and they get it. Punt block, and there's a big takeaway for the Tiger Cats. 3rd block punt of the year for Hamilton.
And it was a special teams team meeting on the punter, Burke Dales.
And is it Markeith Knowlton that chalks up his 2nd of the year?
It is the fast break. Go ahead and run it, guys, because it is a fast break to the punter. Look how many Hamilton Tiger Cats are on the spot. 4. No chance there for Burke Dales at all to get that away or to run either direction. Dylan Barker also close.
So now the Ticats will try and capitalize on a Calgary mistake. DeAndre Cobb, hold, and dragged down at the 2 by Tim Johnson, the middle linebacker.
DeAndre Cobb, 641 yards coming in. He's got that great burst and great change of direction in the hole. And if you were talking about Rookie of the Year candidates right now, Martel Mallett in BC would be one name you would bring up, and how about DeAndre Cobb as well?
6th in league rushing, and he missed a couple of games early. Now 1st and goal from the 2. 2 backs, and Cobb takes the pitch, and he is tackled in the backfield. Big play there by the top defensive player a week ago, Jim Davis.
Yeah, Jim Davis gets the inside lane, but the play is made too, Chris, by Milton Collins, the safety, who comes up and he gets contained. Remember earlier when Yannick Carter did not get contained down on the goal line on Henry Burris? Now this is the correct angle to take by number 14. He gets up the field and turns DeAndre Cobb inside into the hands of Jim Davis.
So they lose 4, and it's 2nd and goal at the 6. 4 receivers come to the wide side. They look the other way. And that one incomplete, intended for Curry in the corner of the end zone. Up against Keon Raymond, who's done such a fine job replacing the injured Brandon Browner.
This Calgary Stampeders team has tremendous depth. That's the top of your screen. You can see the one-on-one as Keon Raymond just gets up in the bump and run position, is in perfect spot inside the inside shoulder of Curry, and does not interfere with the receiver.
Some teams have tried to capitalize on the new guy on the hot corner, but Keon Raymond has held his ground, and Nick Setta will settle for 3.
Calgary Stampeders, Chris, have averaged 407 yards of offense per game. Over 100 yards per quarter. They're at 29 right now, but they've had a little bit of charity from the Hamilton Tiger Cats so far.
Good boot by Setta. Backed up Ryan. And he comes across the 30-yard line. Well, it's not how they've started in recent weeks, it's how they've finished.
Well, when they need the key touchdown reception this season, they've gone to money. Jermaine Copeland, 11 on the season coming in, and they haven't been like Copeland's been wide open, waving in the back of the end zone. He's had to make tough catches in traffic. That, a game-winning touchdown last week.
All those catches in the final minute. He has been clutch, and a lot of people think, well, the first half of the year, a most outstanding player candidate. Dr. Reynolds up across the 35-foot gain as he tests that front of the Ticats.
It's an interesting discussion, you know, when you look at Jermaine Copeland and whether or not, you know, you should put him in that outstanding player category at this point. There's lots of football to be played. I'm sure, you know, it's a name that you have to consider with those touchdowns and the way he's done it, and the fact that the game, for the most part, has been on the line when he's made those big catches. I still go to the quarterback in this case. I think what makes this offense run is Henry Burris.
2nd and 7. This play is halted.
And that takes nothing away from Copeland, who's, you know, the most confident receiver in the league right now, playing like it. But it all starts with that guy. It all starts with Burris. And he has thrown Copeland open on a lot of those plays.
Legal procedure. Calgary number 62. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Left guard Jesse Newman, the pride of Powell River, BC.
And
flinched early.
Henry Burris on pace for a personal best season, over 5,000 yards passing, plus he adds that running ability. He was the leading rusher last week versus the Edmonton Eskimos.
You make a good point, and you give both guys credit, but you watch those touchdown catches by Copeland, and he's usually in very tight coverage. This one up top, looking for Thelwell again, and that drops incomplete. As Bo Smith was the man in coverage. Ryan Thelwell, who missed a day of practice this week with an Achilles problem, and I got the impression yesterday John Hufnagel is thrilled with what Thelwell's delivered for the Stampeders in the absence of Kenyon Rambo, but he just doesn't want to overwork him.
Well, he's not a young man anymore, but Ryan Thelwell had 73 yards last weekend, his first touchdown of the season. In fact, Copeland had so many that Nick Lewis, Ryan Thelwell, and Brett Ralph had 0 touchdowns going into last week. Thelwell got his first.
But Gales gets this one away. And Bryson James doesn't get far on the return as the cover team downfield in a hurry after the 42-yard punt.
We each paid $3.99 for 3 different value combos. He shoots, he scores.
We each had our choice of entree and sides. Don't call a plumber.
'Cause he drains it. And your Junior Hamburger Deluxe is made with fresh, never frozen beef.
5,
4,
I'm
3,
into
2.
curling.
Only Wendy's offers $3.99 value combos, each with your choice of side and a drink.
It's way delicious. It's Wendy's.
Do you want to walk from here?
No. You could drop me off right out front.
Driving a Hyundai is smart, like the Santa Fe, from just $21,995 with 0% financing. Plus, save up to an additional $1,000 off when you turn in your 1995 or older vehicle. Hyundai, smart is in.
Back at Ivor Wynn, and let's go back to Claude.
Well, you know, guys, it's almost an embarrassment of riches for the D linemen that the Calgary Stampeders have right now. In fact, they have 8 potential starters. That's because a couple of notables have returned to the team, Charlton Hughes and Terrius George, who have been re-signed with the team, adding some depth and very little disruption, according to VP of Operations Jim Barker, who also told me that when you're dead last in the league against the run, you're going to make some changes. And the creating some competition here of late with all these new faces, not a bad thing for the Grey Cup champs. And of course, they're hosting the Grey Cup this year. We'll see how it works, guys. Back to you.
Claude, they also know what they're getting. Charleston Hughes was brilliant last year. Tate George had 8 quarterback sacks in 2007. Devon Claybrooks, another newcomer, just made the tackle on the last play.
Great depth for Chris Jones to work with there.
Scott takes the handoff and tries the left side, and there is Tate George making the tackle with Claybrooks in the neighborhood.
Well, they have been trying to work out that run defense. Last 3 weeks they've been a lot better. Charleston Hughes will help in that respect. He led the league last year in tackles for losses, had a dozen of them. Tate George from 2 years ago, 8 sacks on the season for him. He had 3 on Labor Day alone in 07. So, you know, Chris Jones has that to work with. Plus, he has just sat down Odell Willis, which led the team in sacks.
2nd and 10, they go to a 3-4 and get pressure on. And Porter trying to buy some time, runs out of real estate. And Weisacker leaves them out. Big loss back to the Hamilton 42.
But he learned something. And it was a loss because his receivers downfield were covered. He got to the outside and then was patient, hoping a receiver would open up. And when they didn't, he hung on to the football and took the loss, put his punt team on the field. That's the type of things that Marcel Belfait was talking about, that he's got to learn through some mistakes, and he's made some mistakes early in this first quarter.
Lost 11. And set up into the wind. Marker down. And Titus Ryan drops the football. He lost it last week for a touchdown, and the Ticats come up with it. Well, both teams making their share of mistakes.
Ryan has had his problems, as you mentioned. Ray Marius is going to cause the fumble right there. Forced fumble by Marius on the special teams, and the first opportunity in the red zone for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Meanwhile, Eubanks and Yannick Carter are not giving each other a big hug. That's the helmet lock.
We're locking horns tonight. By the way, the fumble recovery by Lamont Reed in his first game as a Tiger Cat, backup defensive halfback. Might be one of those nights pass. It's been a strange one so far. Out of the backfield, look out, that one almost intercepted. It did get to the intended target, DeAndre Cobb, but there was Keon Raymond poaching, and he nearly had a quick 6.
Maurice Curry was coming down and trying to pick for Cobb, who's coming out of the backfield right here, and he's coming out of that backfield to the right, straight to the flat. Keon Raymond was sitting on that route waiting for it and tried to wrestle the ball out of Cobb's hands, but he's strong enough. He's already fumbled once. He didn't want to let this one go.
So just a yard on the play, and it'll be 2nd and 9 from the 24. With the shotgun snap, pressure on, and Charleston Hughes, back in the CFL, has his first sack of 2009.
Interesting formation by Chris Jones' defense. None of the defensive line get down into a stance on this key play. Look at the defense for the Calgary Stampeders. They're just standing up, standing around. Tough for the offensive line to get an idea of who to block. They keep moving, they keep shuffling. None of them get down in their stance, and they cause problems for Quentin Porter.
I mentioned off the top of the show we didn't have a quarterbacking controversy. There are some fans here at Ivor Wynne disagreeing with that. As set on the lines, one wide, and this will go through for a single, so just a point after the Titus Ryan fumble, and again, the Ticats with more self-inflicted wounds. Well, the CFL on TSN continues tomorrow night. The Argos travel west to BC to take on the Lions, an east-west battle. Live coverage begins at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. And Mr. Buono in pursuit of CFL history.
If they win, it will be his 232nd victory, which will put him all alone in first place. All-time wins for a head coach. But that's still a big if. No Jarius Jackson in that game, but Pierce will get the start.
I hear your friend Casey Printers has been a topic of conversation.
Don't call him my friend.
Joffrey Reynolds with a cutback in big yards. Up across midfield, and finally dragged down by Bo Smith.
If you call him my friend, I get the calls from a whole bunch of people.
I've just stirred it up.
The fact that I should be his agent, but they may go to Printers. This is a nice run as Joffrey Reynolds uses his vision and patience to cut back all the way across the flow, and then he's into the secondary. Held in check last week versus the Edmonton Eskimos. Just 6 carries for 25 yards in that game. Henry Burris, the leading rusher there.
Just eclipsed that on that last run with 26. And there's a little confusion. Reynolds went one way, and Henry Burris looked the other.
Judging by Joffrey Reynolds' reaction, he went the wrong way. And you're right, Henry Burris, you don't see this from this offense very often. This is a well-oiled machine, and this time it just Henry Burris turns the wrong way, or Joffrey Reynolds went the wrong way, and he just tries to get what he can.
So it's been a mistake-plagued first half, but that mistake didn't hurt them. They get 3 to 4 on the play. We'll call it 2nd and 7. And it'll dump pass to John Cornish, and he's separated from the football by Chris Thompson, who arrived on time. Or was that Jamal Johnson?
Yeah, I think it might have been Jamal Johnson, Chris, from the linebacking core, and he's going to just wait on Cornish, who lined up in the slot back position here. Henry Burris wants to hit him hot, and he tackles the football helmet first, inside out from the linebacking core, and yet another play by Jamal Johnson.
Yes, it was. 28 makes the play, and he's made a ton of them to lead the CFL in tackles this year. You made the point. The defense has hung in there for Hamilton here in a strange first half. That ball bouncing into the end zone and close to the back line.
That's no
For
yards.
some reason, Ronnie Amati picked it up.
Well, the way that Curry played it, it was like he was playing back in the United States, because he looked like he was going to let it go. And it looked like Ronnie Amati was thinking, well, I'll down it. But you can't do that. The only guy or person that could recover the kick would be the punter, Burke Dales, or anyone behind him. Other than that, you have to give 5 yards, so that'll be a no yards call.
And Amati hearing it from a lot of his teammates.
The rule for a returner, in this case it was Reese Curry, is anytime the ball goes over your head inside the 10-yard line, you let it go. But you have to go back there, recover it, and give up a knee if it doesn't go out of bounds on its own. Amati just touched that ball with no returner around it.
We're getting a long conference by the Andre Proulx crew. And as yet, Ticats haven't even been offered their options.
No yards. No yards. Calgary number 40. This is a 15-yard penalty that will be enforced from the 10-yard line. It will be first down Hamilton on the 25-yard line.
Well, I mean, this is a pretty obvious play to me. You're Ronnie Amati. There's no returner has touched the football. You see Curry number 2 in the middle of your screen. He's going to let this go over his head. And he's got to go back and recover it if it doesn't go out of bounds, because the punter, Burke Dales, or anyone behind him could come and get it. And Amati, without even, he closes in that 5 yards, just touches it. It's a no-yard call. I'm not sure why it took 2 minutes to figure out.
65-yard punt looked like it'd be a single, but no, and it's still 14-7. Porter takes off. Tripped up as he crosses the 30-yard line as Jim Davis makes the tackle.
You're right, though, Chris. The crowd here at Ivor Wynne Stadium, I think, is getting a little restless. And, you know, Quentin Porter has shown a couple of signs, and I know that Marcel Belfait has said that he wants to stick with him and let him work through some difficulties. And that will be part of the process as he develops, but he understands he has to balance that with the urgency of winning. Because the Hamilton Tiger Cats have positioned themselves at 5-5 to take a run at not only a playoff spot this year, but a home playoff spot.
Second and 3, and Arlen Bruce has the catch, has the first down, and he'll get written out at the 36-yard line.
This is a good recognition from Quentin Porter to realize that he's got a little bit of room for Arlen Bruce. Just turns around in front of John Eubanks, and he can see that first down sticks. No, he has that extra yard. 45 yards already on the night for Arlen Bruce. I mentioned he has led the team 5 straight weeks in receiving.
First down, Ticats. Their own 36 out of a double tight end. Play action fake to Cobb. Rolling and looking deep. And flag as the intended target, Arlen Bruce, was tackled near midfield.
And he got caught up with Dwight Anderson. Arlen Bruce tried to turn up. Quentin Porter was actually throwing the ball to him.
Pass interference. Calgary number 33. First down.
So the former Tiger Cat draws the flag.
Arlen Bruce is right up at here at the 50-yard line. He's tied up in there with Dwight Anderson, and as he turns to try and get loose and go down the field to come up with that football, he is grabbed by Anderson, and that's where the flag comes out with the ball in the air.
Up to 53, a first down. Porter will dump it off, and Cobb can't reach it. And it still looks like there's a little rust on a guy who hasn't played in a month.
Yeah, and you know, there's a few plays that I know Quentin Porter would like back in this game, but that would be probably number 1 right there. And I know it's not the touchdown throws, the one he had intercepted in the end zone, but those are the mistakes that Marcel Belfait has to let him play through. That's what he's talked about, and trying to be consistent with his plan from before training camp. But that one is big yardage if he just drops that, and that's an easy throw to make.
Second and 10, that move in front of Calgary. That one batted down at the line. There's been a couple of those knockdowns tonight. Shannon James, the linebacker.
You know, Quentin Porter comes out, you know he's going to be a little nervous. Hasn't started in over a month. And very first series, he drops the ball. That turns into 7 points for the Calgary Stampeders. Gets a chance down in the red zone. That was 2nd and 2. Probably could have gone to someone underneath the mistake. And then again, in the red zone, makes another mistake as he throws an interception. That's what Belfay's saying. He has to work through those things.
Set aside the punt and got a good bounce after a short initial kick.
Question is, how long does he wait and let him work through those type of mistakes?
Turns out to be a 35-yard punt. Very much in this game, as both teams have made their share of miscues in a strange first half.
The one thing that Belfay does have, though, Chris, is his defense is playing very well against a very good offensive unit from the Calgary Stampeders. That's buying Belfay some more time to allow Quentin Porter to maybe work through some of those errors.
That's going to work and back into the hands of Reynolds. Big running room for Joffrey Reynolds. And the safety, Sandy Beveridge, finally brings him to a halt at the 41.
Tell you what, it looks like the Hamilton Tiger Cats right now in their run defense are playing pretty well to get to the point of attack. They're flowing this way, and what Joffrey Reynolds has noticed is that they're overplaying it so much that they're opening up cutback lanes on the backside. That's a couple of times now that Joffrey Reynolds has taken advantage of the backside of a play.
Only 4 20-yard-plus runs for Calgary this year coming into the game. Reynolds has had 2 tonight, and there's a drop for Jackie Chambers, the rookie, in his 2nd game. He looks skyward and will step out. The 3-minute warning.
Henry Burris, well, 2 for 9 so far in this game.
Looking at 2nd and 10 from the Stamp 42. And Nick Lewis out of the backfield. He is surrounded and brought down. And again, Sandy Beveridge in the neighborhood.
Kari Long almost intercepted that pass. The Hamilton Tiger Cats went with the blitz coming off the edge from Markeith Knowlton. Knowlton was coming from the backside over here. You're going to see him just out of your screen to the right. And number 94, Long, who's going to fade off with this route here to Nick Lewis. Almost has it over his shoulders there. But they'll hold Calgary well short in a 3rd down situation.
Former Boise State star Drayson James dropped back. End-over-end kick. One hop to the 25. James trying to get outside. And flags fly. Mark Policed with the tackle, a 38-yard punt.
You know, part of these flags on returns are, it's when you have a kickoff return, very tough. There's so many moving parts for the officials to see it all. And the other thing is it's coaching. And you almost want to coach guys to not touch anybody if you're even close. It takes away the return yards.
Hamilton number 33 during the return, 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
2nd one for Andre Sedishin in the game. We're closing out the first half. Then we'll check in with the guys rolling out the half. See if any of them have changed their mind about who should be quarterbacking in Hamilton. It'll be an ongoing discussion as long as the passionate fans here are watching their team and seeing them in the trail position. Out of the backfield, Cobb works past Malik Jackson down the sidelines. And DeAndre Cobb stepped up to find out where they mark him, but it's a big one for the Ticats.
Take a look at DeAndre Cobb, who catches this out of the backfield. Good throw and catch. He starts right to the left of Quentin Porter right here. Comes out of the backfield, and the timing is good, so it allows Cobb to turn and get the corner, and he shows his great speed. I talked to Travis Moore, his coach. Travis Moore, the former receiver, is the running back coach here in Hamilton. He says he is old school.
There's Curry, the hitch. There's another flag at the 40-yard line as Curry's brought down.
I asked him, I said, what do you mean old school with DeAndre Cobb? He said, well, take a look at him. No wristbands. I mean, when was the last time you saw a running back with no gloves, no wristbands, no towels hanging off him. He said you could never use the word sweet when you're talking about DeAndre Cobb. You can use quick, you can use burst, you can use old school.
Hamilton number 6, 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
McDaniel had the clutch on somebody.
But Travis Moore told me out of all the running backs that he's seen or played against, he thinks DeAndre Cobb has what he calls the two-piece fake. And I asked him to explain that. He said the two-piece fake is when you get in a hole and you go bam, bam, left, right, and then accelerate through the two pieces. And away you go. He says Cobb is the best at it.
Dave Dickinson, the running back coach for the Stamps. And pass, a dart thrown complete at the 40-yard line on 1st and 20. I found that interesting that Travis Moore, a great receiver, just under 10,000 yards in his career, largely with Calgary, and Dave Dickinson, quarterback, they're the running back coaches.
But you know what it is? It's a way to get him in the organization. And, you know, they're offensive assistants, so you know they help with game planning, and they help the receivers if you're Travis Moore, the quarterbacks if you're Dave Dickinson.
And you know they know a lot about offense. Second down, Porter will step up, take off. He's got a first down. Down to the 45, ball popped loose, but he was down, and Dave Stalla there to pounce on the football anyway. 26-yard run for Quentin Porter.
Well, that might have changed the minds of some of the fans here that were starting to get antsy and wanting to see Kevin Glenn in the lineup, because this is that intangible that he brings, the ability to take off and run for the first down. He throws a nice ball across the middle to get back the penalty yards, and then that run moves the chains.
8 start, definitely down. 8 start, 4 times. He's been over 50 yards rushing, already 51. And underneath it goes, Cobb again, another first down. Lunging to the 32. Brought down by Malik Jackson.
Now the question, if you're Hamilton Tiger Cat fans, and if you're the head coach of the Ticats and Marcel Belfay, is, has Quentin Porter learned from the last 2 visits down in this area of the field?
Well, they go no huddle now. First down. Porter pulled it down. And now Bruce for the shoot. Tossed ahead by Malik Jackson. Marked out at the 24.
You think back last year to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you brought up Casey Printers earlier, and Printers struggled with a real young receiving core here in Hamilton. How important is Arlan Bruce in scramble situations like that for Quentin Porter, a guy who knows what to do when the quarterback starts to scramble?
Got 8, 2nd and 2. Fake to Cobb. Porter getting trapped. Now he'll throw it, and he'll throw it away. Then it'll be 3rd and 2, and the field goal unit's coming on. You know, a guy with great scramble ability, that was a one-on-one. I thought he might just take off and try and get the 2 on his own.
Well, pretty good job by that Calgary defense to keep him contained and to be patient with it. A lot of times defensive linemen out in space against a quarterback that can run like this are going to get antsy, and they're going to try and go after him and make the tackle. You can see there, I believe it was Jim Davis just got him to turn the corner.
So Sutter, who has missed one, puts this one through, and Hamilton chips away. 10 kicking points for Marcel Belfay in this first half, and they're within 4.
Kahari Jones, I don't think there's a team in the Canadian Football League with more former players and recent players to the league than the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We mentioned Travis Moore, Kahari Jones.
John Kropke, not as recent a player, but down by 4, but they've dominated the stats in this first half. But unfortunately for the Tiger Cats, that includes the turnover department.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest stories of this game has been the defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats against an offense that has put up some big-time yards, averaging over 300 yards passing this season. I mentioned over 400 yards net. 7 of their last 11 games, they scored over 30 points.
31 seconds remaining in the half. Here's Ryan. And he slipped up as he hit the 35. And Henry Burris will lead the offense out with 25 seconds to expand the lead. But,
wow,
boy, those numbers are startling.
They really are. I mean, 3 for 10. When was the last time that Henry Burris threw for less than 100 yards in a half?
We were mentioning, we recollected the visit to Toronto. He was not great in the first half and then got it going in the second half there, but 15 yards. A little time to change it, but he'll hand it off first. And this time, Dr. Reynolds is dropped immediately as Justin Hickman drops the running back.
And take a look at the Calgary Stampeders coming into this game tonight offensively. First in so many categories. I mentioned points, and their points, remember, coming off turnovers here. One was a fumble recovery for a touchdown by the defense. Total yards first, passing yards first, average game per pass first in the league. George Cortez will have to make adjustments at halftime. He does have a little bit of a running game established from Joffrey Reynolds. Some backside plays that have worked successfully this Calgary offense. But the passing game has been shut down so far.
Hamilton defensive stats are interesting because they're second in points allowed, second in touchdowns, but against the run they're 6th, against the pass they're 6th. So they've allowed yards, but not that many points. Call the timeout to stop the clock, and on second down, Reynolds off the right side has a first down.
Well, and you know that when your running game is really the only thing going and you're sticking with it, you're going in second and long. That was 2nd and 8, and it was a long 8. George Cortez decides to go with the only thing that's worked offensively in this first half, and that's Joffrey Reynolds.
That makes sure they don't give the ball back in this first half to Hamilton. Burris, a completion away from field goal range. And down to Falwell, who tried to keep the feet down and did a dangerous lunge there on that short sideline at the Calgary bench, incomplete.
Henry Burris is going to have to be more patient against this Hamilton defense. They're playing a lot of zone in this first half. He's going to have to check the ball down underneath and see if his receivers can get those yak yards, those yards after the catch. They've been pretty good on those intermediate and deep throws so far in the first half tonight.
So 3 seconds remaining, and the Stamps are content to run out the clock here. Well, a mistake-plagued first half, and somehow John Hufnagel's team has emerged with a 4-point lead after 30 minutes.
Hello.
Sprinting to the dressing room, thinking, let's get out of here. Down by 4, we will take it. I don't think we saw this one coming. Certainly not from a Calgary perspective. Despite the fact that Hamilton makes a whole bunch of mistakes, Calgary leads by just 4, and it could be 2. Don't forget, Nick Seta missed a 37-yard field goal. There was a lot of talk about the Calgary Stampeders. The champs had found their game again, their swagger. They were having fun. But the question right now is who's playing worse, really? I mean, Hamilton's not playing well at home.
They're
Calgary's
both equally atrocious.
right now, they are. Let's start with I beg your pardon, with Hamilton and Quentin Porter at quarterback.
Well, deja vu. It really is, because I remember a game Sunday, August the 16th. Hamilton at Saskatchewan. Quentin Porter was a starting quarterback, and basically he imploded in that game. The Riders all over the Ticats, and it took a great second-half performance to get back into that game. Here, he doesn't have the patience. He gets caught from behind. That's the opening play. Here, once again, sits down. The ball slips out of his hand. That means he wasn't protecting the ball properly. And now the key issue here is that particular play led directly to points. So the issue now is, as the quarter went on into the second quarter, does Marcel Belfait have faith in Quentin Porter that he's getting his rhythm, his timing back. I don't know. The second time that this has happened to the young man, and understand, football players have a lot of time to get ready for these moments. So for me, I don't know. I would go, again, back to Kevin Glenn.
Well, that was the worst football I've seen Quentin Porter play since he's come into the league, and I've been a big fan of his. But you know what? When you're playing terrible, you're playing terrible. And I was looking for examples of some bad plays that you hadn't shown, Chris, and there was too many to count. But there's a few that tell me this guy is playing shell-shock. This guy is not the Quentin Porter we've seen all year. I mean, throwing an interception here with 1, 2, 3 guys around his receiver tells you he is not zeroed in the least. And then there was a play here that really told me that he is not of the right mindset. When you are scrambling with the football and you have a full 3 seconds to throw the ball out of bounds and you take an 11-yard loss and put your team in that position, inexcusable. And then when he throws a 5-yard hitch and he doesn't even get his hands in the laces. This is a quarterback who is not comfortable in the pocket. He is, I mean, yes, he completes his pass, but Manny, we were talking about this, right?
Yeah.
Are you taught to throw a football without grabbing the laces? To me, he's not in a rhythm.
Yeah, it's something's wrong there. Something is awry, and I fully, expect there to be a change. But I can tell you that he's not alone. And I don't know if it's the offenses so much or if it's the defenses, But you look at Henry Burris's performance in the first half. He's 3 for 11 for 15 yards. That is abysmal. But let's look at the other side of the coin and watch what happens with Nick Lewis just flying out. Never gets to his depth and allows Otis Floyd to find him. Nick Lewis is continuing to try. He's supposed to get depth. Floyd never loses him and is able to knock the ball away. And then Burris, he's got pressure in his face. Once again, that's good defense on the last play. And again here, pressuring the quarterback, Henry Burris. And then you watch the strike. Burris, hey, give him credit. He did throw a nice ball here. A little hung up a little high, but Sandy Beveridge gets over there and swats it late. So I don't know, if it's so much the abysmal offensive performance we're seeing here in the first half or if it's just stellar defense. I think it's a combination of both. Both defenses have certainly stepped up in this first half.
I don't think we have any doubt that we can see Calgary's offense rebound. They've been a good second-half team. And, again, just to quickly up and down, we expect to see a quarterback change with Hamilton?
I'd give Quentin 2 more series.
2 more series?
Yeah, I would expect to see a quarterback change over the next 3 weeks. I would see in this game, in the next game, the following game. Yeah, I think we're going to get Glenn all the time.
Glenn.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see what happens. It is 14-10. The Calgary Stampeders with a 4-point lead. This is the touchdown that Burris scored. They also got one defensively from Milton Collins, and this one taking points off Hamilton's scoreboard. Interception in the end zone. Brought to you by Tim Hortons, always fresh.
Hey, Dave, look at these 3 turnovers happened in the first quarter to Hamilton. These 2 turnovers happened in the second quarter to Calgary. The team that plays the best professional football is going to win this game.
Thank you, Chris Schultz. And they almost had another fumble there in the second quarter, but Porter was able to get that one back. This is game 1 of week number 12. Brian Mudrick now joins us in the...
Welcome back, baby. 3-3. We back in Hammer Town, baby. About to put the hammer down, baby.
Is the exclusive broadcaster of the Canadian Football League and proud home of the 2009 Grey Cup. So we head to the third quarter on what has been an unusual night. And we are told by Claude Faig that Quentin Porter will remain the quarterback, at least for the time being, but Kevin Glenn definitely at the ready.
Yeah, Kevin Glenn took lots of warm-up throws a few moments ago just to be ready, but it looks like Quentin Porter, as Jock said at halftime, will get at least a couple more series, see if he can work through some of these issues. Had a rough start to this game. First quarter with a fumble in the very first series, threw an interception in the end zone. That took points directly off the board because Hamilton was in field goal range at the very least at the time. So he's got to work through those issues, and he'll get a chance to do it because he gets the ball first.
We mentioned off the top a tough stretch here for the Ticats. 2 against Calgary, 2 against Montreal in the next 5. These two teams meeting twice in a 3-week span. DeAngelis to get proceedings underway in the second half. Brought down by Charleston Hughes, and Quentin Porter will try and forget what happened in the first half. And even with that said, his numbers overshadowing the star counterpart.
Yeah, but in a big way. I mean, other than the interception, Quentin Porter a way better half than Henry Burris numbers-wise. But it's those mistakes that we talked about that led to the points, and that's why Calgary has the lead. But I don't remember a half for Henry Burris that his numbers were that low.
Hey, Finn.
Ticats start at the 44. In the hands of DeAndre Cobb, and he'll get 6. Brought down by Hughes at the 50.
That's one thing we haven't seen a lot of. DeAndre Cobb has caught the football out of the backfield a few times in that first half, but not a lot of run yards just yet. Just 19 yards rushing.
132 from scrimmage last week in the overtime loss against the Argos. We also saw the Wildcat last week. A 9-yard run by Cobb, who took a direct snap. Have not seen it tonight. We see Cobb on second down, and he'll have a first at midfield.
One thing about that first half, Quentin Porter did a lot of running, and when he runs to the outside, you know that at halftime the defensive ends for the Calgary Stampeders are reminded of his running ability, so they'll stay wide and be contained conscious outside, and that should open up some running lanes for DeAndre Cobb. So Marcel Belfait comes right back and says, if the ends start to widen and are worried about Quentin Porter running, then we'll go back to our running back.
Rush on, over the top, Marlon Bruce wrapped the ball. He was in behind coverage and headed to the end zone, but it's been that kind of night.
And when you talk about quarterback changes and things like that too, I know Marcel Belfait is a firm believer in finding out the reasons that a quarterback may be struggling, and he certainly needed this one because you cannot throw it any better. Arland Bruce is wide open.
A 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the play. It will be second down.
So the penalty was against Simeon Rotier, the #1 draft pick, the rookie playing left guard. A 15-yard penalty, so the Bruce drop wouldn't have mattered.
It takes a little heat off Bruce, but
Cobb bouncing off first contact on 2nd and 25.
This is the 2-piece cut I think Travis Moore was talking about with regards to DeAndre Cobb in the backfield. He's right there, number 14. Watch, he makes this 2-piece cut. He gets the ball here, and it's 1-2, and back out to the outside. And that was Tim Johnson, who's averaging 8 tackles a game since joining the Calgary Stampeders in the middle of that defense.
They set it to boot, and a good one. Towering kick. Fielded at the 10. And Marcus Howell up to the 17-yard line, 53-yard punt. Canadians revamped lineup. Live coverage begins Monday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Those two SportsCenter stars are rock stars. Henry Burris trying to get things going, and that'll help catch number 500 of Jermaine Copeland's career.
And Henry Burris threw that mad. He's just off after that first half, where his numbers are as low as I've ever seen them. He threw that ball mad. He says, I'm going to plant that in the middle of the 8 and the 0, and Copeland will have no choice but to catch.
50th catch of the year, number 500. Great career. And a career year. Flying down as well. just hit the hole hard, and there's Jamal Johnson on the tackle.
Looks like it'd be offside against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The play was about the same distance as the penalty. So you can go 1st and 5.
Offside. Hamilton, number 31, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Joaquin Bradley, the corner, lining up offside as he wanted to get in the face of the receiver. That's 2 weeks in a row we've seen a very unusual play.
It's puzzling when a corner is offside because the ref's standing right beside him.
That is 1st and 5. Play fake, bobble there, and Bell with the catch, and a quick tackle by the other corner, Bo Smith.
You can see what George Cortez and Henry Burris have decided to do to start the second half and get their passing game going, and they're working the short game. You know, hitch screens to the outside, quick hot route in the first play to Jermaine Copeland. So Cortez wants to get Henry Burris in a rhythm, and he'll just shorten up the routes a little bit, make those high percentage throws.
2nd and 1. Corners in the backfield, and Reynolds straight ahead. 1st down yardage, and almost squirted through for a lot more. Matt Kirk with the tackle.
Prior to last week, Joffrey Reynolds had back-to-back 100-yard games. The 2 wins, one versus the Toronto Argonauts, and then on Labor Day.
8 for 88 tonight. That is his average in games against the Ticats in his career. But he'll build on that tonight in all likelihood. A big toss. Now Burris. Can't move it down. Gar Long does, but Henry Burris scrambles for a 1st down.
And now Henry Burris starting to get in the action. He had 60 yards rushing. In fact, last few games, Henry Burris has started to run the ball more. He's averaging 6-7 carries per game over the last 3. And he's starting to actually move the sticks with his legs a lot more as this season goes on. Immediate pressure by Hamilton really forced him out of that pocket.
Otis Floyd said yesterday, number 1 is contain Burris, number 2, stop Reynolds, and then number 3, the slots. Really gets... There's Otis Floyd. He contained Henry Burris there, didn't he?
Yeah, Q Floyd, as you talk about him, and he comes off the edge there, full speed. Henry Burris wanted to run a double move and run the fake. Otis Floyd lines up back here. Then he's going to sneak up to the line of scrimmage and comes off the edge, and Burris has no chance. Excuse me, just inside of that, and Burris has no chance as Floyd just buries him.
First sack of the year for the veteran, who was hurt early, and you know he also moved from outside linebacker into the middle. It was an adjustment period. He's been much better the last few weeks. Now they screen it. Here's Joffrey. And Reynolds has a 1st down, a big 1st down for the Stampeders. Jamal Johnson, another tackle, but they convert on 2nd and long.
We drew this play up for you on the chalkboard early in that 1st quarter, and it's a screen pass again by Joffrey Reynolds. The 1st quarter, the Hamilton defense found a way to make the tackle. This time, Joffrey Reynolds in the backfield here is going to sneak out, and what the idea here is the offensive line are going to go 2 count and let the D-line go. They know Reynolds is outside. Now you got some help out there with Jesse Newman trying to get that lead block.
Otis Floyd with another big play. The Ticat middle linebackers.
These guys are having a lot of fun. I talked to Greg Marshall and a couple of linebackers, Otis Floyd and Jamal Johnson right beside him. There's Floyd there. There's Jamal Johnson. You know, they hang out together off the field. They spend a lot of time together. They'll go watch a movie. They'll go all get together to watch a boxing match coming up. When you start to get to know each other and play well together, things will start to gel.
Well, Greg Marshall said he's the guy that really has helped change the culture here in Hamilton. 2nd and long again, a pump from Burris, and he's got Brett Ralph wide open. Ralph, and bring it in. Brett Ralph looking for his first touchdown catch of the year, and somehow it got away.
Henry Burris had enough time on this play to allow the receivers to extend the routes and get down the field because he steps up in the pocket. And when he does that, you're right, he has Brett Ralph. Sandy Beveridge got caught inside a little bit and a little shallow, but Ralph cannot come up with the catch. Hit him right in the chest. We've seen a bunch of this. This has been a bizarre game. Arland Bruce right through his hands. Brett Ralph right through his hands.
Burke Dale's looking for the pin. 5 down as this one bounces down around the 10. Looked up to the 15. They get a no yards. There's also another marker on the field, which we'll sort out when we come back. For every sack in tonight's game, Purelator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purelator, where business is going, and they had Tackle Hunger Day here on Labor Day. 42,000 pounds of food donated here in Hamilton.
Otis Floyd made a couple of donations here in that last series.
Yes, he did. Couple sacks for Calgary. Wes Lysak, Charleston Hughes. Justin Phillips called no yards, but Yannick Carter was penalized for holding, and the ball is spotted at the Ticat 13-yard line.
Well, interesting game so far. I mean, you think about the only points that the Calgary Stampeders, this high-powered offense, has been able to put on the board have been off turnovers and mistakes by Hamilton.
Maurice Curry has the catch. Let's check out the marker on the play. Indication against Calgary.
I'm going to show you what Arland Bruce can do for your lineup when Arland Bruce is in the game here. He's in the slot, and he takes off here.
Face mask. Calgary number 46, 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. First down.
He takes off, and watch how Curry opens up underneath because of it. That speed stretches a defense. You see how both defensive backs there were influenced by Arland Bruce. He hit that thing so fast that the Calgary defenders had to turn with him. That opens up Curry underneath. Easy throw and catch. Well, nothing's been easy tonight, but they made the throw and catch between Quentin Porter and Curry.
Joined us late. Appreciate Rodriguez out with a knee injury, so Curry is in, and Porter going up top. Looking for Curry, and it's off his fingertips.
Unreal. I mean, you cannot put this on Quentin Porter or Henry Burris. They've had open receivers. Even Arland Bruce, the veteran of 8 years, on the last series, dropped one.
To the receiver, Calgary number 25, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Keon Raymond on the outside is going to get called, and that's going to give the Hamilton Tiger Cats a first down, but that is a very catchable ball. You got to come up with those.
One thing I will say for Curry is he was slowed up, and boy, did he have makeup speed down the sidelines. That looked like it might have been overthrown, but caught up to it, but he didn't catch it. And nevertheless, a penalty on Raymond, the 10-yard penalty. Charleston Hughes right there, big collision.
Yeah, it really was. You get two good football players. This is one of those plays I like watching because, you know, offensively you do what you want, which is get pretty good yards on first down. That's what DeAndre Cobb wanted to do, but defensively you can't really play the run much better because Charleston Hughes there steps up in the pocket, and he is right in that hole and lowers a nice shot, lowers his shoulder and throws those hips and drives through the tackle.
6 for Cobb, 2nd and 4 across midfield into Calgary territory. Porter circles the wagons and now guns downfield, and it's incomplete.
I think Jock Climby talked about this at halftime when the quarterback, and Quentin Porter can do this better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league, and that is to buy himself some time by running around. Now, he's going to do that. And then once this play is basically broken down, That's a very risky throw into traffic right there. Probably should have been intercepted by Keon Raymond. Once that breaks down that badly, throwing it out of bounds is not a bad thing.
Got a fumble by Titus Ryan again tonight, so Marcus Howell's in. Howell fielding it at the 19, and another flag and a no yards after the 34-yard punt.
Enforces.
Fans amping it up here, exhorting the defense as the Stamps take over. But their own 23, they picked up the flag, so no yards call on that last punt. And Joffrey Reynolds up to the 30-yard line, and Markeith Knowlton with the tackle.
Well, they go back to what's been working, and it's really the only thing that's been working for the Calgary offense. Take one off the board from the Brett Ralph drop, but when Henry Burris has tried to push the ball deep, he's either ran out of time, he's had a couple of drops, or he's not be able to find an open receiver. Joffrey Reynolds is doing his thing.
Second down. Burris downfield, and the sure hands of Jermaine Copeland for a big first down up at the 45.
A little bit of confusion there for the Hamilton Tiger Cats on defense. They were a little late getting organized. I think it created some good angles for the Calgary receivers. As they're trying to drop people off there, Bo Smith comes across the formation and finds his guy, but he's a little late, and Copeland takes advantage of it. Greg Marshall's trying to signal in those defensive calls from the sideline, get him to his defense.
Copeland started the night 7 yards back of Kerry Watkins for the league lead. And receiving. And this play doesn't get off. Somebody moved. And just when the Calgary offense looks like it's getting in gear.
Legal procedure. Calgary number 62, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Twice for Jesse Newman tonight.
A couple of times now in this situation, the Calgary Stampeders have gone with the screen play. Try to get Joffrey Reynolds the ball in a different type of way. I'll bring in the tight end, Teo Johnson.
First and 15 at the 39. And Burris has Copeland wide open. And Copeland still going. Joaquin Bradley nails him at the Calgary bench. But Jermaine Copeland's been the most dangerous receiver on the field tonight.
Yes, he has, and Copeland, who will be the middle receiver on the 3-receiver side, is going to work himself to the sideline on that out, and then he turns it up. So now you have a deep receiver in Brett Ralph. You've got to take care of him first if you're the Hamilton defense, and that's what Joaquin Bradley did. He went deep with Brett Ralph and left Copeland open on that sideline.
38 yards on that play for Copeland.
And just like that, maybe the Calgary Stampeders are out of this funk offensively in the passing game.
Jeff Tisdale, defensive halfback, shaken up on that play. Heads to the Ticat bench. And we should see Lamont Reed, the newcomer, in for Lawrence Gordon tonight. Step in for the injured Tisdale. And it looks like Bo Smith moves inside, and Reed will take over on the corner. First down. Calgary threatening. Burris rolls. And open is Nick Lewis. And he'll charge down to the 13.
Well, Nick Lewis is working on his routine here. He hasn't had a chance to do many touchdown dances, but he said he's going to do first down dances instead, because he hasn't had his first touchdown of the season yet, and he'll just find a soft spot in this zone defense, and then he'll do. And he told me, I said, well, what are you going to do on first down? He says, well, first of all, it has to be a game where we're ahead, because I'm not going to do it if we're behind, but I'm going to do different sports every first down. So that looks like baseball. So we'll see what the next sport is.
The fastball there, Reynolds right side, and he is swarmed there. As the Ticats rally to the football this time. limit the damage from Joffrey Reynolds.
Yeah, and they want to limit the damage of this drive because they don't want to give the Calgary Stampeders some momentum all of a sudden. Marcel Belfait from his defense now just wants to see if they can hold him to a field goal and try and take some of this momentum away by stopping it on this down. It comes down to this play right here.
Second trip to the red zone for the Stamps, who are #1 in scoring efficiency from inside the 20. Over 70% with the touchdown tonight.
No safety.
Second and long. Pressure. And out of the reach of Joffrey Reynolds as the heat was turned up by Justin Hickman.
Love the call from Greg Marshall. They're going to bring Sandy Beveridge right here up into the line of scrimmage. They basically are trying to show Henry Burris that there's no safety back there. So you could try and take advantage of the middle, but what they did is drop Markeith Knowlton, the linebacker, into the middle. That caused problems for Burris, so he had to turn around and just try and dump it away.
So the defense comes up with a stop and DeAngelis on. Is through, and it's now a 7-point Stampeder lead. I'd just line up for the other 3 or 4 kicks.
Well, yeah, I mean, the 20-yarder, you got to think that one, even if you go straight on and toe punch it, the old style toe punch. Dave Cutler used to do in Edmonton. Are you soccer style?
That's my game. No, I'm old school. Real old school. Short kickoff up to the 42. Ticats will have the wind in the 4th quarter. Interesting that they have been a good second-half team this year.
Yes, they have.
Outscoring their opponents, in particular the 3rd quarter, 70-27, but
yeah,
so far not tonight. They've outscored their opponents in 6 of 9 with 1 second-half tied this year.
Well, in the second half, 127-72, they've outscored opponents. So you're right. They've been a second-half team offensively.
Just over a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter here. Open man, not Marquis McDaniel. That is Corey Grant, the Stony Creek native, with just his 2nd catch of the year. Had one on Labor Day. Glad to be back as a Ticat where it all started 11 years ago.
Provides depth to the lineup for Marcel Belfait's offense. See spot duty, but a good catch and to get you your offense in 2nd and short.
So 8 for Grant, 2nd and 2. Bob straight ahead. They convert, first down across midfield. Malik Jackson in on the tackle with Charleston Hughes.
You know, I know our panel back on the desk are wondering about Marcel Belfait and whether or not he'd go to Kevin Glenn and at what point, but I know Marcel Belfait is a real strong and firm believer that if it's not the quarterback's fault, I'm not going to make a change. And he could make an argument that Quentin Porter in this second half has put the ball where it has to be, and he's had some drops.
Final play, 3rd quarter, barring a penalty. That's on the money. And there's Corey Grant again, the first down. Good second effort by the veteran. Out of Laurier, Corey Grant helping Hamilton move the football late 3rd quarter. Tim Hortons, always fresh, always.
You got to give credit to the Hamilton defense. The Calgary Stampeders have averaged over 300 yards passing per game, well under that, although they did get a little bit going in that 3rd quarter, and it was really Henry Burris to Jermaine Copeland.
So no style points are going to be awarded for this game.
Ooh, not at all.
But Ticats are very much in it going to the 4th quarter.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're in it. They're starting to get on rhythm offensively. Just got to get rid of all these drops. I mean, Arlan Bruce had one right in his hands. We've seen Brett Ralph drop one. I mean, it's uncharacteristic of both these teams. In fact, we were talking about it. Both coaches were saying before the game how sure-handed their teams have been.
Marcel Belfait said the focus all week, attention to detail. John Huffnagel said, In 2 years here, I can't get over how sure-handed our team's been, with one exception. That was the loss in Winnipeg this year.
32!
Right now, Ticats moving the ball, and now with the wind at their back, they have a first down. And Porter in some trouble, and he's not going to get away. There's Charleston Hughes. That's his second sack of the night.
Well, welcome back, Charleston Hughes. Back in the lineup for Ordell Willis and making an impact. He's right up on the top of your screen right here, and then coming off the edge. Can one-on-one on Dan Goodspeed, and a little inside rush. He even had some help there from George Hudson, and he just, with those fresh legs, tremendous bull rush to collapse the pocket.
5 sacks last year. Most impressive total was 12 tackles for losses. Guy that was cut and then brought back by Calgary a year ago, and that pass draws a flag.
It draws a flag. It almost looked like Quentin Porter wanted it back as he was in the throwing motion.
Yeah, you wonder if that one slipped with the grip, or whether he just tried to pull it back.
Legal contact on the receiver. Calgary number 40, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
And was that the reason he wanted to pull it back?
Yeah,
Ronnie Amati?
It may have been, yeah, because he did look like he put the brakes on. You see Ronnie Amati working right here one-on-one on Marquet McDaniel. And it looked like he was just, he almost leaned forward like he wanted to pull that throw back. But he'll get one more crack at it. Now he's in second and medium.
Corey Grant back into the offense. Looked like he brought a play in from the bench. 4 receivers to the wide side. 6 receivers out. And over the middle, it's a catch. Reese Curry. A big first down for Hamilton at the Calgary 18-yard line.
Well, Marcel Belfay wanted to hang with him, and Quentin Porter there. The timing was absolutely perfect, as Curry is just going to clear the linebackers from the left of your screen, and Quentin Porter puts it on time right over the middle. Now he has to time this right, because if he doesn't, Tim Johnson is in the throwing lane number 0. So he waits just for his receiver to clear behind him and puts it right on his hands.
First and 10, Ticats. Order. It's down. He can't hang on. Might have been broken up by John Eubanks, who was out there, and Stalla, who's been a reliable guy for the Ticats this year, has not been a big part of tonight.
All of a sudden, John Eubanks starting to really make some plays. He's knocked down earlier. He had a knockdown and interception last week. Stalla really should have had that, though.
And he has caught most of the balls thrown his way this year. But you're right.
He secures that ball just before Eubanks gets there. He has a chance.
Down by a touchdown, 2nd and 10. 6-pack of receivers out again. Arlen Bruce! On the money and good hands as well. And Hamilton within a point after him, getting on even terms.
Arlen Bruce gets a chance to do his touchdown dance. See, Quentin Porter takes a quick peek to his right. He knows he's got Arlen Bruce. He'll have 2 guys layer underneath to give Bruce some room. And sure hands this time from the veteran.
6th touchdown of the year for Bruce.
I'll see you, bro.
What a difference he's made. Set it. Adds the time point. Just over 12 minutes left, and we are tied at either win. Arlen Bruce says he's been working on his touchdown dance, but I think Stripes has got a beat.
Well, he can talk to Stripes about maybe getting some help choreographing the next one. Now, apparently Arlen Bruce is checking with Marcel Belfay about his touchdown dances.
It's a tie game.
Well, that's why he's restrained. He just tied the game.
That's right. Down to business.
Short kick, and hangs up there. Got worked out, and Tennis Ryan will bail out. I think Jim Davis, the big defensive tackle, misfired on the downfield kickoff.
Let's see what they do here, and this is the layers I'm talking about. One underneath, another underneath, so that Arland Bruce can get all the room in the world to make his move and also go towards the middle. Watch number 4 as they get 2 players going underneath. Then Bruce gets lots of room to work on John Eubank, shakes him right there, and sure hands into the end zone.
8 plays, 68 yards, the touchdown drive, and now more heat done. Henry Burris and the Stampeders. Burris on the run, and Brett Ralph has dropped another, and that was almost intercepted. They're ruling incomplete. Markeith Knowlton got his hands on the ball, and that's a couple drops for Brett Ralph.
Well, a lot of the teammates of Markeith Knowlton, who's right here in the middle of your screen, he's going to fly out there. Thought that he caught this ball. Another drop by Brett Ralph, who took a peek to his left, and I'm wondering if he didn't catch that ball.
Let's have a look. Nope,
no,
it
did bounce.
But it is 2nd and 10. Here comes the pressure. And Burris has to throw it away. Brett Ralph was in the neighborhood, but well short of the target. And that defense comes up with a key 2 and out. The fans love it.
Justin Hickman came on a little stunt, and I believe he was the guy who's going to end up chasing down Henry Burris and giving him problems. Starts right here, and I think he kind of wheels around here. Watch how he's going to get in the face of Henry Burris as he comes around the horn. Now he's free. Burris cannot step into this throw, and it'll one hop.
Burkdales has had 1 block tonight.
Go get it, go get it!
End over end, a wobbler that'll kick down and good grab by Bryson James. He looked like he had something open up there. It closed down, but dropped at the 34-yard line, 50-yard kick. Wendy's CFL on TSN. Friday Night Football is brought to you in part by Wendy's Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. It's way delicious. It's Wendy's. And by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right since 1939.
Both these teams have been trying to give this game away. See which one wants to go and take it.
Just under 11 minutes left. First down at the 33. And Porter incomplete. And it looks like a late hit on the quarterback. Tay George had his arms up, pleading innocence.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Calgary 91, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Tay George is coming from the left side of the defensive line. And he gets outside and around. There's the throw, and not only is it a little bit late, but it's direct helmet-to-helmet contact, a hit to the head by Tay George, and that'll be called every time.
Costly 15 yards, up to the 48. Stala in motion. Hand off to Cobb, and he'll be tossed down. Play there by Miguel Robidet. Well, Quentin Porter has worked through some adversity tonight, and that's one of the reasons there isn't a short leash in Hamilton.
We don't want a situation where the starter feels like, he can't make any mistakes and that he's going to get a short hook. That's not what we're trying to do. With the young quarterback, you just want to see him progress, and getting the ball out on time is part of that progression, and making quick, decisive decisions is that part of that progression. So that's what you want to see, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's work tonight, 2nd and 8. Porter quickly inside, and Cobb very close to a first down, into traffic, across midfield. Let's see where they spot the ball. They had to get to the 52, and looks like it's going to be close enough that the Ticats may leave the offense out if it isn't a first down.
Well, they'll take a look and measure it. We talked about this in the pregame show a little bit, Chris, but Marcel Belfay's plan in training camp was to develop Quentin Porter, and he brought in Kevin Glenn to assist him in that development and also win some games and contribute when Quentin Porter had some down times. You mentioned that he has been pulled and Glenn has come in games. Glenn started 3 games. But there's 2 schools of thought at play here. One is the big picture and what this team needs to do in the future and beyond to develop a good quarterback that they can hang their hat on for a long, long time. They believe that guy could be Quentin Porter. The other thing is to win now.
Well, to win now, they may need this conversion. Didn't get there. Did not get there. Tried the right side behind George Hudson, and it was shut down. And let's find out now. The Ticats signaling that they may still have got it on a good spot.
Well, it would be a good spot, and it would be forward progress. And remember, on 3rd down, both coaches can challenge.
Now, it's not there, but did he roll off and come back the other way to get it? I don't think so.
That was, they're going to give him forward progress. I don't know. Oh, they're saying he didn't get it.
Boy, that was closer than I would have expected. But still a turnover on downs.
Wallace kind of turned sideways. It was shut at the point of attack. He couldn't get any penetration there. So he turned his shoulder sideways, and when he did, he got hit in the back by Tim Johnson.
The Rock, as he was described by his head coach yesterday. Turnover on downs, 4 turnovers in the game. Calgary back in the driver's seat. And Henry Burris with a feet-first slide to the 41 on a 1st down.
Henry Burris got out around the corner, and the wide open receiver that he saw first was Brett Ralph. Now, he may have to go back to Brett Ralph because he doesn't want to lose him completely. But when Henry Burris came around here, after having Brett Ralph drop 2 in a row, he gave him the pump fake and said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just run this one. You get a block here.
Get you later. 14 on the run by Burris. Stay on the ground. Reynolds. Finally dropped at the 36. Close to 8 more for Joffrey Reynolds. 24th 100-yard game in his outstanding career. And the 4th against Hamilton. Well, they contained Burris as they wanted to, but job number 2 was stop Reynolds, and they haven't done that tonight. 2nd and short. What a fake to Reynolds, and John Cornish drops the ball, and it'll be 3rd down and a couple for Calgary now. And the field goal unit has to come on.
Well, Cornish they tried to surprise him and try and get a big play if Cornish can catch this, but you know who saw it and recognized it was Jamal Johnson. And I think when he flashes in front of John Cornish here, he's going to see just to the right of your screen, he sees him. He's not able to double clutch that one and pull it in. Cornish starts to the right of your screen, comes out to the flat, and there's Jamal Johnson. He's right there. And he might have even got his hand on it as he went by.
So Sandro to try and kick Calgary into the lead from 43 out. Into a win that shouldn't be a problem, but he pushed it to the right. And Reese Curry is going to bring it out. And as it turns out, it's a great call. Down the sidelines, game still tied, and Hamilton ends up with decent field position. Tonight's game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
Quentin Porter had his struggles early, but he's bounced back from that. Henry Burris, just a dismal first half, 15 yards passing. Joffrey Reynolds has done his thing in this game, but it's still in the balance right now, and I still think that was a bad decision, even though it worked out.
Could have been the GOAT, but Reese Curry brings it to the 31-yard line, keeps the game tied. Cobb out of the backfield with a catch. Malik Jackson has him corralled at about the 39-yard line.
You know, I know this works out for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but with over 7 minutes to go in this game, Reese Curry makes this decision, and if not for Jamal Johnson, who is right here, and he's going to not only get that little block there, but he's going to move up the field and get another chip block on Malik Jackson. And when he does that, he springs Curry just long enough to get him out of there.
Hey, Kilo.
I still think that's a bad decision. No, it's a tie game. Second and under a yard, and this time they do convert. Cobb sprints away to the 50. So the turnover on downs didn't hurt a bit. No, it didn't, but for Reese Curry gets caught inside the 5-yard line, it's a game-changing decision to make. It works out for him, and now Cobb's got him on the go here. A little catch out of the backfield on first down, and then this basic running play out of the shotgun. Pretty good moves in a tight space.
First down at the 50-yard line. How often has Sandro DeAngelis missed a field goal with a chance to take the lead? Here's comes Porter. Nailed Keon Raymond. Porter wants a hit spearing penalty.
Well, and he was hook sliding, but he's got to declare early. He's got to declare early enough that the defender has a chance to avoid contact. But I think Porter's complaint here is that Keon Raymond led with his head. That's exactly what he's saying, and no flag.
Quentin Porter now 6 carries, 63 yards, and the Ticats moving the football. Cobb in the hole. DeAndre Cobb off the right side. And he is dropped close to a first down at the 36-yard line. Ronnie Amati from his defensive halfback position has to bring him down.
Well, it looks like Old School is starting to churn up some old-time yardage, and good cutback here to the backside, beating a guy in the open field that is a very sure tackler in Shannon James. And all of a sudden, this drive looks pretty good, led by DeAndre Cobb for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. If they can get points here and get in the end zone for the major, it sets up yet another scenario for Henry Burris of the Calgary Stampeders. Time running out. Can they do it again?
This requires a measurement up to 128 rushing yards by the Ticats against the Calgary defense that thought it had solved the run problem, allowing just an average of 67 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, they had improved big time in that area. But last week against Edmonton, 129 yards total. So
funny how every team seems to have a stadium they just don't do well in. We mentioned that prior to last year, Calgary had lost 4 straight here. How about Sandro DeAngelis? He has missed 6 field goals at Ivor Wynn. I mean, he misses 6 field goals in a year.
Remember, right off the top of the show, we said the Hamilton Tiger Cats have won 4 straight at home this year.
Second and short. They were stopped on 3rd and short. You wonder if they use this as a free play. Maybe not. Well, maybe so. Travollis looking for Bruce. Jump ball. He's got it. Touchdown. Alan Travollis.
And it was actually well covered. The Calgary Stampeders defensively really weren't fooled by the play. On short yardage, you'd think that all the defensive backs and linebackers would be looking at the line of scrimmage, thinking quarterback sneak. They're actually not fooled. The coverage is excellent on the outside by Dwight Anderson, but Arland Bruce wins the jump ball.
That's Travollis' first pass of the year.
How about that call by Marcel Belfet?
Wow. It's a touchdown lead for the Tiger Cats with 4:13 to go. Adam Travollis to Arland Bruce, who has 2 on the night.
When you design these plays up offensively, you're thinking you will fool the defense. Short yardage, everyone thinking quarterback sneak, and you'll drop back and you'll have a wide open receiver. Well, they don't get a wide open Arland Bruce. but it's just one-on-one, athlete against athlete, and this time Bruce wins that battle.
Oh, I can hear the fifth quarter call-in show now in Hamilton. We got to get Jafalos into the game.
There you go, stirring it up again. Everybody contributing.
Well, he probably was the loneliest guy on the sideline a few minutes ago when he didn't convert third and short, so they give him a chance second and short, and he airs it out.
Well, that was a good drive. DeAndre Cobb, big part of it. Arland Bruce finishes it off, but there is plenty of time left here. Over 4 minutes to go.
Now, we've seen Calgary's act before.
Without question. In fact, these two offenses could get the ball back a couple of times each before this one's over.
Arland Bruce giving, though, more evidence to support his quote that the trade from Toronto, the worst decision in the history of football, according to Arland Bruce. Titus Ryan up across the 40-yard line. Well, Henry Burris has time and time again led the Stamps back. Last week, late drive, and Brett Ralph, a big catch there. And then number 80 comes into play, doesn't he?
Sure does, and that was the game-winning throw with time running out.
Getting loud at Ivor Wynn. Jeffrey Reynolds keeps moving. Sandy Pepperidge, the last man, has to haul him down at the Hamilton 48.
Pretty big block up front. And to the left side of that offensive line, Ben Archibald. See Jesse Newman. And watch how they just slide to their left. Tim O'Neill loads up in the linebacking core. He gets to the second level. When your center can get to the second level, you got a chance. Big gainer.
First down Burris. Time running up. And Devontae Bolden stuck with them. Great contain there by the big defensive tackle.
I got nothing. Nothing, buddy.
Interesting to see what Greg Marshall does with Henry Burris here. He's got to be thinking Burris he's got to throw the ball and knows that, but does he play zone and have Burris try and dump it underneath and then hope his linebackers rally to the tackle? Or does he send the pressure? See if he can get the sack on Burris.
Second and 10. And Henry Burris didn't look like what he saw. This is Ticat football now. And they're now calling the 3-minute warning here at Ivor Wynn. Well, a timeout called by Henry Burris. He wanted to confer at the bench. Dave Dickinson over, and well, we've seen them so often drive late in the game. And Henry Burris talked about what it's like in the huddle, the composure of a championship team.
It's a very focused, calm, and confident group. And you could just feel that energy when you stepped into the huddle, as far as the energy towards making whatever we need to make happen to get us the win. And it was such a different feeling. I mean, from any other drive, whenever we step in the huddle, guys are focused. You don't hear anybody talking. They're just ready to go. And you can also see that look in everybody's eyes.
Well, they're ready to go. Unfortunately, a fan made his way onto the field, and it has taken some time to eject an overzealous Ticat supporter. And this has caused a delay that you wonder what kind of impact this has on.
Well, it gives Henry Burris more time in that huddle. So the Hamilton fan may have just hurt his team.
Working against a tough defense in the 13th man. Second and 10. That ball batted down. More pressure from that young front.
movement. Was it Montez Murphy up front?
Let's see if it was number 98, the former defensive end who's playing inside. And
I think it was. Little
yes,
stunt as they worked a little two-man stunt from the outside there. I believe it was Jermaine Reed came inside. Montez Murphy went out and around and knocked that out of the air.
Fourth consecutive start for Murphy. Darrell Adams and Garrick McIntyre soon to be returning from the injury list. There's an injured Stampeder down. It's Ryan Thelwell, so we'll step out and be right back. TV set. This is cause for concern. Ryan Thelwell, we mentioned, missed a day of practice with an Achilles problem, and we don't want to diagnose anything, but he came up lame on his own.
He missed practice so they could rest him. It was bothering him, and you know, I watched it live. I didn't really see him take any contact.
No, he just looked like something popped.
And they're holding that left foot and holding the back of his leg below the calf, and that's that Achilles area.
And you know, yesterday we mentioned to John Huffnagel what a great, you know, fill-in he's been for Kenyon Rambo. A remarkable season for Ryan Thelwell, and he said to us, just worried that at 36 he just can't be as much a factor every week as he has been for us. We gotta pace him. We can't use him as much, and this would be a real blow for the Stamps. Well, they have to punt away, and Brookfields will try and pin them, and that was a perfect coffin corner. How about that? It doesn't get better than that. And it's marked right out at the 1. Burke Dales delivering.
Perfect punt at just the right time, and it puts Quentin Porter in the shadow of his goalpost. Reese Curry doesn't have the opportunity there to make a decision on the ball because that ball is placed perfectly. And because it bounced first and was inside the 20, no penalty on the flag, just an absolute perfect punt by Burke Dales. And this is where you want to lean on your running back if you're the offense, DeAndre Cobb.
Now you've heard what it's like in a Grey Cup championship huddle. Here's a young team on the verge of a breakthrough, but they've got some work to do. And Cobb, big hole, upended, but across the 10 to the 11, close to a first down.
There's that two-piece fake that Travis Moore told me about with DeAndre Cobb, and he gets in that hole, and it's 1-2, and he can change direction in a hurry. And that first 2-3 steps that he accelerates in the hole is what creates the separation between he and the linebacker. I believe in this case it was Malik Jackson, but he gets into the safety, Wes Lysak, in a hurry.
Second and less than a yard. Back to Cobb, and he just gets the first down. But he's had to overcome a little adversity in this game. He was part of that early first quarter meltdown that, you know, you look back on and you wonder how Hamilton survived.
Oh yeah, they survived because their defense came up big and kept them in it. And now Cobb has a chance to get 15-20 key yards here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because these are the most important 20 yards of the game if they can get it out to around the 20-yard line, even if they have to kick it from there.
It's a big measurement.
Yeah, they don't want to have to kick it.
And it is short. So they've been stopped once. You don't often gamble inside your 15, but here, don't you have to go?
Well, you do. I think you do. When you're inches away, and the first down here gives you a new set of downs and a chance to take another 40, 50 seconds off that time clock, I think you do.
You often hear coaches say if you can't get a yard, well, if you can't get a foot.
And they just need 2 inches.
Time for Marwan Hage, George Hudson, Simeon Rotier, and the big boys to hunker down.
And it's all about leverage here. It's all about which offensive or defensive line get the lowest.
Take a little time off the clock. And Porter. That was a decent surge, wasn't it? Or Trafalis again in on the third down situations. No question about that one.
And this time, Trafalis keeps his shoulder squared to the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't turn till after he's picked up the couple of inches that he needs. Watch how he comes in the quarterback sneak here. He's going to go square to the line, get his shoulder pads low, and then once he's got about a yard, then he spins off and picks up another as he falls. But he kept square that time, and that's why he gets the first.
Well, now the clock running under 2 minutes remaining. And will Adam Trafalis' touchdown pass be the difference in this one? Flag down and up close to the 20.
Boy, did the Calgary Stampeders ever load up the box. We'll see what the penalty is here, but they brought a lot of people down in that box to try and stop DeAndre Cobb. And I think that this is going to be against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
You get to use another minute.
Procedure call.
Illegal procedure. No end. Hamilton, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
A procedure by formation.
Costly alignment problem.
Yeah, that could be outside too. Either a receiver or a slot back not coming up on the line. One's allowed to be off, one has to be up. So no end for Hamilton. And puts them back in that hole.
That's first and 15. And Cobb is stepped up. Calgary's used its timeout.
Interesting call there on first and 15 to go to Cobb. I know when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen and 2 of them aren't good. So you want to try and eliminate the possibility of that turnover.
Of course, we have seen Quentin Porter effective running the football tonight. 63 yards. 4th time he's been over 50 in 8 starts. Does he take off? Tracked by Hughes. Outside. But nowhere to go. And a late flag. And that will maybe the decisive penalty of the game.
And I think it might have been Charleston Hughes who led with his helmet on the hit on Quentin Porter as he was going down.
Dwight Anderson incensed and now they're chirping at the officials.
Now Quentin Porter did not go feet first. He did not hook slide.
Now the officials are conferencing and
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, contact to the head. Calgary, 15-yard penalties enforced from the end of the play. First down.
Second time that's been called tonight against the Stamps.
There's 39 Hughes. And I think he just lowered his helmet and went off the top of the head of Quentin Porter. Although from that angle, it looked like he almost fell across the top of his head.
Well, that gives Hamilton 3 more plays. Calgary can't stop the clock. 69 seconds to go. Cobb straight ahead. And 1 more first down, and this one's in the books.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. If they can stop them here, the Calgary Stampeders, that penalty still gives Hamilton lots of room to kick the ball away. So this is going to be one that's talked about for some time here. Charleston Hughes and Chase. Now, I'm not sure if contact's made with the helmet or not. From the second and third looks, it doesn't look like he really did. And it wasn't that Quentin Porter was already out of bounds.
Second and 6. Cobb again. Straight ahead. He'll be yards short of a first down.
They're going to take a look at this and bring in the sticks. Gives Marcel Belfait a chance to take a good look and see, first of all, exactly how far he has to get. It would have to be just inches for him not to punt in this situation. In fact, even inches, I think now that he's got room, conventional thinking would say kick the ball away and make it a long field.
He said, I might go for it. I think he was talked out of it at the bench. Or was he? No, he said offense stay out, so he wants to go for it. A little surprised here because, well, I'm surprised because you can run 20 seconds off, kick the ball away, and Calgary's got maybe 10 seconds remaining. If you don't make it here, Calgary's going to have a couple shots at it from the 35. But stopped once tonight, and Porter was going to call timeout.
I was going to say, this doesn't. This is the biggest gamble in a long time if he continues with it. He was letting it run down to see what was going to be set up, let the clock get right down to the end, use his timeout, get organized, get his punt team, make sure the right personnel is there, and then send his punt team on the field.
That'll be fun to be a fly on that wall because that was a pretty good conversation down there. They were thinking about it. It looked like anyway.
No, but this was well managed by Marcel Belfait, and I'll tell you why. Because you want your offense and your starting quarterback to control the clock like that, not your punt team.
So set up, big boot. Backpedaling Howe at this 23. Marcus Howe up to the 33-yard line. 13 seconds left. 52-yard boot. And Henry Burris doesn't have much time to steal this one from the Ticats.
Well, and he needs a big chunk here.
What a night for the Hamilton defense when you look at those numbers.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that first half alone to keep Hamilton in it. This is defending Grey Cup champions that were on a 3-game win streak.
3-game win streak on the line, and
Ticats are for real.
Boy, that's a time count violation.
Now Henry Burris here is going to have to try and get this play done in about 7 seconds. Somehow they got a time count that's going to push him back, and that puts him in a real hole. The Hamilton Tiger Cats going to drop way off, 20, 30 yards. On Calgary to throw it underneath.
Hard to hear anything here at Ivor Wynn right now. And he avoids the initial pressure. Ball's incomplete. That'll be time for one more play. You looked at that schedule, a team that had won one of its last 4, and you wondered if Marcel Belfait's team wasn't in a bit of trouble. But they have rallied tonight and are 6 seconds away from a real statement victory.
And he was patient, and he stayed the course, and he kept the message consistent with regards to his quarterback in Quentin Porter, even though he really struggled in the first quarter. Marcel Belfait let him work through those mistakes. Once Henry Burris got it.
Open man, Jackie Chambers. This game's over. Hamilton Ticats with a stunning upset of the defending Grey Cup champions, and they are very much for real here in the CFL East as Marcel Belfait's team moves back over 500 to 6-5. Time now for the Friday Night Gladiator.
Hamilton Tiger Cats struggled offensively in the first quarter, and the Calgary Stampeders got the running game going until Otis Floyd, who was banged up, came in and made some big plays for this defense. that was stellar against a team that was averaging over 400 yards of offense per game. Floyd had a couple of sacks, was all over the ball. He's our gladiator tonight.
Friday Night Gladiator brought to you by Movado, the Movado 800 Series, all about the art of performance where serious sports function meets power design. And Otis Floyd, as tonight's Gladiator, receives a Movado Series 800 watch. It wasn't pretty, but they were resilient. Quentin Porter and the Ticats with a 24-17 win.
Guys, thank you very much. Time now for the TSN turning point, and this one came on 2nd and inches. They put in backup quarterback Adam Trefolis. He doesn't plunge forward. He throws it down the field to Arland Bruce for the winning touchdown. The turning point brought to you by Wendy's Baconator, the official hamburger of the CFL. The Hamilton Tiger Cats extend their home win streak to 5 games and stun the defending Grey Cup champs 24-17. Auto racing is next. Thanks for watching. You are watching TSN, Canada's football leader.